Folks, the Iran war is getting very serious. The US are involved, but also Israel. Now, there's a lot of people that love Israel. There's also a lot of people that really hate Israel. There's people that want Israel to not exist. Now, I don't know about all that, but this is what is going on, and the Iranians are trying to destroy Israel in any way they can. They're trying to destroy Israel's leadership, and now it has actually been reported, there's a rumor that's been going around the last couple of days, that Benjamin Netanyahu's brother actually might have gotten killed in an airstrike by Iran. Now, this would be get back from Iran. You know, their leader was killed in airstrikes by Israel, supported by the US. They're saying that the leader, his daughter, his dog, his everybody, just his grandkids, everybody's dead. Okay, the new leader is the son of the leader that was killed, but he was killed with several of his family members, and they're saying that the new leader, his father, his wife, one of his kids, all killed by American and Israeli strikes. So clearly they want revenge, and it is going around. Now, it's been unconfirmed. This is a fact check, okay? So let's just fact check this news that's been spreading around. Did Iranian airstrikes kill the Israeli PM's brother? Okay, social media is abuzz with claims that Iranian airstrikes killed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's brother Edo. Additionally, there are rumors that the country's national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, has been severely injured in an attack. But here's the truth, okay? The conflict is in full swing in West Asia, with more than 1,200 casualties reported in Iran and 13 in Israel. A situation like this can be a breeding ground for misinformation online. Unverified info is often circulated widely across social media platforms. One claim is that Edo Netanyahu, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's brother, has been killed, while Itamar Ben-Gvir, Israel's national security minister, has been injured in an airstrike. Here is the truth behind the claims. Here is the truth. Several social media accounts have been claiming Iranian airstrike claimed the life of Netanyahu's brother. Oh, we already had that. Reports further claim Ben-Gvir was injured after his house allegedly caught fire. Some of the accounts went on to claim the Israeli authorities are trying to cover up the incident, and there have been other posts going around suggesting Israeli media falsely reported that Ben-Gvir was involved in a car accident to conceal injuries sustained during a purported strike. In a post shared on the social media platform X, a user wrote, Benjamin Netanyahu's brother Edu has lost his life after Iranian missile strikes on Netanyahu's family home. It further read, apparently the Iranians now have this family squarely in their crosshairs. The post gained 3 million views, and there's a picture of a burning house, but people are saying, community note, there's no reliable source that Edo has lost his life, and the video is actually from a house fire in New Jersey from February 2026. Commenting on the post, a user wrote, if true, this would mark a dangerous new escalation, targeting family homes, pushing conflicts into an even darker territory, and risking the widening the cycle of retaliation. Moments like this remind us how quickly regional tensions can spiral and how devastating the human cost of war can become. So basically, there's been no official confirmation about these deaths or that the residences were targeted in an airstrike. That video that is being shared isn't actually genuinely from Israel, but they're blocking a lot of information getting out of Israel, and we're not really able to understand the full extent of the strikes that have been going on there. Okay, and there's basically some backstory on Benjamin Netanyahu's brother, but we basically don't have confirmation. But I think this is the sort of thing that they would cover up if true. Okay, he is basically, you know, a top target when it comes to the Iranians. They feel like Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israelis have, you know, decimated and destroyed and killed several members of the leading family, and they are basically trying to retaliate and do the exact same thing. Now, there's a whole bunch of other Israel, Iran, and American war updates that I'm going to give you in this video. One of the interesting things that's been going around is Senator Lindsey Graham, who recently has been kind of, you know, allegedly been giving a bit of guidance to President Trump. He's now facing heavy backlash following the escalation, because he actually appeared on the news talking about making money out of the situation, and also people have been
when this regime goes down, we're going to have a new Mideast. We're going to make a ton of money. Nobody will threaten the Straits of Hormuz again. But Donald J. Trump saved the world from real chaos. Can you imagine a year from now? What would it cost America if Iran had 11 nuclear bombs to threaten us? They would hold us hostage. We would be held hostage in perpetuity by this terrorist regime. So the money we're spending is a good investment to take down a regime that's been the largest state sponsor of terrorism, has got American blood on its hands. And when this regime falls, it's not if, when, we're going to have a gateway to peace. And the next thing that will happen is Saudi Arabia will recognize Israel, and that will be the biggest change in 2,000 years in the Mideast. And Donald J. Trump is the man to make it all happen. When this regime goes down, we're going to have a new Mideast. We're going to make a ton of money.
So not a great look, right? And then you combine that with the fact that he's kind of heavily thrown his support behind Israel. He's saying he wants the Saudis to recognize Israel for the first time ever in the Middle East. And it just makes you wonder, is he focused on the right things?
All the anti-Seminites, to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day. They're the best ally we could hope for. So we have a commander-in-chief in President Trump, who I think is Ronald Reagan plus, plus, plus. All the anti-Seminites, to all the
anti-Seminites, he's Ronald Reagan plus, plus, plus. This guy is deranged, okay? Now, reports would allege he's been a major proponent for Israel for quite some time, okay? He's backing the Israelis.
This is Lindsey Graham describing his personal travel schedule and how often he's in Israel. Watch this.
Well, this is my 5th visit, I think, since October the 7th. I'm here for a reason, to show support to you, my good friend, the elected leader of the State of Israel. I'm here also to take on, and I will talk about this tomorrow, a form of blood libel in 2024. That the State of Israel is using starvation as a weapon of war.
But the whole point of Lindsey Graham being there, because he tells us it's the point, is to defend Israel from unfair criticism on the internet. Is that his job as a U.S. Senator? To be unpaid, and we're guessing about the unpaid part, but I do sense he'd do it for free. To be a PR shill for a foreign prime minister, not even really the nation, another politician who's not an American. What the hell is going on?
Interesting thought. Now, I don't really rate Tucker Carlson, but it is interesting to point out, you know, just how much support American senators are giving to Israel. And really, you know, you should be putting America first. You should be thinking about America's interest at all times, right? But he's talking about, we making a ton of money. We're going to make Saudi Arabia recognize Israel. It's very interesting. I'm not anti-Israel in any kind of way. But it is interesting seeing American senators, you know, throwing so much support behind a nation which is an ally, but also it kind of does make you think you're doing a little bit too much, perhaps. Now, this really is one of the scariest things that's going on right now. Sources are basically claiming that Iran may be placing mines in the Strait of Hormuz. The escalation continues on in this war, and Trump has warned Iran not to mine the Strait of Hormuz because this could basically cripple the water, the food, the supply of goods and services to and from the Middle East. And essentially, Iran could actually strangle the entirety of the Middle East by closing the Strait of Hormuz with mines.
We turn now to the war zone itself, where the Strait of Hormuz, the exit point for ships carrying oil out of the Persian Gulf, is effectively closed tonight, trapping vessels offshore and forcing cuts to oil production, which is what's been driving up gas prices here at home. More now from Chief Correspondent Matt Gutman in Tel Aviv. Matt, good evening.
Hey, good evening, Tony. 2 U.S. officials tell us tonight that Iran has started to take steps to deploy naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point through which a fifth of the world's oil flows and a red line for the administration.
As U.S. warplanes target Iranian mine layers in the Persian Gulf, intelligence sources tell CBS News Iran is now moving towards placing mines in the Strait of Hormuz, defying stark warnings from the administration.
If Iran does anything to stop the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States of America 20 times harder.
Iran has also vowed not to let any oil leave the Persian Gulf until the U.S. and Israel stop their war.
So the mere perception of Iran having the capacity to hit one of those ships is enough to cause the insurers not to insure the ships coming through.
Exactly. You know, they just need one UAV to hit one tanker, and that's it. And they've already done that.
And Iran continues to lob dozens of missiles and drones, focusing fire on the Gulf states. At least one woman died in Bahrain when this residential building was hit. Another attack left an oil refining facility burning for days. Meanwhile, the U.S. and Israeli militaries claim they have crippled Iran's military with more than 5,000 attacks, one of them gutting this Tehran high-rise, rescuers searching for survivors in that hollowed-out building, rubble as far as the eye can see. And Israel says it will continue to hit Iran's energy sector, the regime's lifeblood.
Is that something we could see more of, Israel attacking energy installations?
We're operating against military targets that have a vital role in the Iranian war machine. And that's how we're prioritizing our targets, and we'll leave some surprises for the next few days.
So there's a lot going on. Okay, it's getting very serious. All right, they're saying U.S. sources say, are they talking about the Mossad? But basically, it's not just Iran. It's not just Israel. Okay, the U.S. are apparently stepping up their firepower in the region too, and they're basically not ready to take any shit from anybody. Now, basically, Iran has. America have already proven their might by taking out the leader, but clearly that didn't work. The leadership of Iran is clearly decentralized. There's different webs and cells going on in all different parts of society. They're very well embedded into the society. So killing the leader hasn't really helped. And now we're fighting this war. where is it going to end? Well, the US could actually completely destroy Iran. They could nuke Iran. They could turn the whole place into glass. I don't want to see that happen. But it does make you wonder, what is the end plan for this? If Iran keep popping shots, they keep blowing up stuff in Dubai, they close the Strait of Hormuz, they starve and choke off water and food supplies to places in the Middle East that are crucial to the US and their bases, what is America going to do? What is Trump going to do? There's not going to be any backing down. There's not going to be any de-escalation. He's in too far. They're going to have to just blow the whole thing up.
Focus on the carrier itself. On March 8th, the Jerusalem Post reported that the US has deployed the USS George H.W. Bush, which is now en route to the Mediterranean Sea. The carrier will join two others that the US Navy has in the vicinity of Iran, namely the USS Abraham Lincoln and the USS Gerald R. Ford. And like the USS Abraham Lincoln, this latest warship is another of America's Nimitz-class supercarriers. As all of this is happening, the USS Gerald R. Ford has crossed the Suez Canal and has positioned itself in the Red Sea, where it's reportedly lying in wait to deal with any attempts by the Houthis in Yemen to join the war on Iran's side. As for the USS Abraham Lincoln, it continues to send bombers and fighter jets into Iran's airspace, where they're wreaking havoc on targets on the ground as the US systematically dismantles every ounce of military might that Iran thought it had. Returning to the USS George H.W. Bush, the carrier has been deployed following the completion of a series of pre-deployment exercises that readied it for the tasks that lie ahead. USNI News reported on this training, noting that the carrier and its strike group had wrapped up composite unit training, which is an exercise that all carrier strike groups have to complete before they can be certified for national tasking. In other words, the training is complete and the carrier is ready for action. US fleet forces confirmed that with a simple statement that will send shivers through what's left of the spine of Iran's ruling regime. The GHWB CSG repeatedly demonstrated the accurate and rapid launch and recovery of its air assets. This training was intense, the same statement reveals. During a 28-day exercise, aircraft from the George H.W. Bush flew 1,586 sorties, making 693 arrested landings during daylight and another 682 in nighttime conditions. Carrier Group's commanding officer, Captain Robert Bibot, has said that his team is now ready for whatever lies ahead, stating, "Our job is to ensure that when they need us, whether for air superiority, strike, electronic warfare, or presence, we are ready to deliver immediately and without hesitation."
So the Americans are over there. They got all the bombs, all the ships, all of the fighter jets. They're ready to blow up absolutely any target that they want in Iran, okay? It is a seriously messed up situation for Iran, and they got some serious firepower. Now, according to the channel Max Afterburner, the US is also using two B-2 bombers to directly attack ballistic missile bunkers, basically bunkers where Iran are storing their missiles that they're going to be using against the Middle East and perhaps America if we're not careful. But these B-2 bombers are nothing to be played with. These are some of the most serious and powerful and technologically advanced airplanes that America has to offer, and they are fucking shit up.
It's March 10th, 2026, and it's said that B-2 stealth bombers have slammed Iran's hardened ballistic missile launchers again just last night with 2,000-pound penetrators. And this has been a campaign for them over the last week or so, slamming these 2,000-pound penetrators into the hardened ballistic missile sites of Iran. And also, some rumors coming out of President Trump's speech just last night is that Iran was working to turn Pickaxe Mountain into their newest uranium enrichment site. And that's even deeper than the sites that were struck during Operation Midnight Hammer. Some rumors say Pickaxe Mountain is 300 feet down under solid granite because Iran is upping the ante, right? They saw that their sites got struck in Operation Midnight Hammer, so likely they tried to build them in Pickaxe Mountain. That's that granite fortress that's buried deep in the Zagros Mountains where Iran thought they could hide nuclear reconstitution efforts under way more rock than before. So did the B-2 strike this as well? We haven't gotten reports from that yet, but there are reports that the B-2s are striking those ballistic missile bunkers, and last night was a big round of those strikes. This is massive. We're talking American air power punching through defenses that Tehran has spent years building, because right now the rhetoric is level 11. Oh, and the IRGC said they would not allow 1 liter of oil to flow out of the Middle East until
So they're blocking all the oil. Now, I did see this going around. I wasn't going to talk about this, but they're also saying that the FBI is actually warning that Iran could attack California with drones. This is so scary.
News exclusive. The FBI warning police departments across California that Iran could retaliate against the West Coast. This would allegedly be done using drone technology.
ABC News has reviewed the alert from the end of February, and the alert said Iran planned to conduct a surprise attack using unmanned aerial vehicles specifically against California in the event that the U.S. conducted strikes against Iran. The alert did not have any additional information on the timing, method, target, or perpetrators of the alleged attack.
Now, this warning comes as the Trump administration launches more attacks in Iran. ABC's Olivia Rubin is following the overnight strikes.
Today, fire and fury in the Strait of Hormuz. This cargo ship from Thailand on fire. Officials now say 3 crew members are missing, 32 rescued. Several cargo ships in the strait hit by unknown projectiles, according to the British Maritime Authority, Iran claiming responsibility for 2 of those strikes. The strait, a critical passageway for the world's oil supply, now essentially closed.
This is one of the pressure points that Iran knew he could use to really force the United States potentially to stop the conflict. If they can do this successfully, they're going to stop 20% of the world's oil supply.
There are reports Iran is planning to use mines to further disrupt the flow of oil. The U.S. releasing a new video this morning of strikes on Iranian naval ships, saying it's destroyed 16 mine-laying vessels near the strait. The U.S. now says American forces have struck more than 5,500 targets inside Iran since the war began 11 days ago. U.S. Central Command giving an update this morning.
Every day, we're striking hard at Iranian ballistic missile and drones.
So look, they might even send drones to California. Now that's pretty terrifying, okay? This is interesting because basically just yesterday, all right, the Secretary of War, I believe, Secretary General Pete Hegseth, basically said that yesterday would be the most intense day of strikes on Iran that they had done yet.
We will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated. But we do so. We do so on our timeline and at our choosing. For example, today will be yet again our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes, intelligence more refined and better than ever. We will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated. But we do so. We do so on our timeline and at our choosing. For example, today will be yet again our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes, intelligence more refined and better than ever. We will not relent until the enemy.
So they're saying they're going to be more refined. They're going to strike harder and better than ever. Okay. But this is the thing that they don't want you to know, and it is actually very serious, okay? Over 150 US troops have actually been wounded in the Iran war so far, okay? And they basically, you know, it's only been 2 weeks of conflict. 150 Americans have been wounded. I believe some have died. And, you know, it's really a bad situation, okay? This is the reporting from Reuters here. And they're basically saying as many as 150 American troops have been wounded in the 10-day war with Iran. 2 people would confirm to Reuters. Okay, the casualty figure hadn't been previously reported. They're probably trying to keep that under wraps. The Pentagon had only disclosed that 8 US personnel seriously injured, but clearly the number is magnitudes higher. In a statement published to Reuters after they published their report, the Pentagon estimated the figure would be approximately 140 wounded, and the vast majority of them were minor. Since the Operation Epic Fury started, approximately 140 US service members have been wounded over 10 days of sustained attacks. 108 of the wounded service members had already been returned to duty, so they're downplaying the whole situation. They said the 8 seriously wounded members are getting the highest level of medical care, but Reuters couldn't determine the types of injuries and whether they included traumatic brain injuries, commonly seen after blasts. Iran has been retaliating against US military bases since the start of the conflict on February the 28th, and it struck diplomatic missions in the Arab Gulf states, as well as hotels and airports and oil infrastructure. Now, the Pentagon is saying that the number of Iranian strikes has fallen sharply since the start of the war because the US military are bombing Iran's weapons inventories and basically Iran's limited number of missile launchers. So they're trying to shut that down and stop them even launching. Asked if Iran was a stronger adversary than expected when the US military drew up its war plans, General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, told reporters early on Tuesday that the fight was not harder than expected. He said, "I think they're fighting, and I respect that, but I don't think they're more formidable than what we thought." That is a little bit concerning, okay? And they're definitely going to try and downplay it. Now, one of the saddest things out of this, okay, is all the questions surrounding the bombed Iranian school after Donald Trump basically suggested that Iran was responsible despite the blast coming from what appeared to be a US-developed Tomahawk missile. Trump had basically said maybe Iran had Tomahawk missiles. A lot of people aren't buying that, and it's pretty outrageous.
Footage that showed that an American missile strike and a Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I
for
haven't
that strike?
seen it, and I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries, you know that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more, but whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic, it's sold to other countries, but that's being investigated right now.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But Tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
So he said that, right? But he also said this. This is insane.
No, they say that kind of stuff. It's amazing. They say, if I'm sarcastic, even a little bit, they make it sound. I said one thing the other day, a little while ago, a month ago, 2 months ago. I said, I don't think I'm going to make it to heaven in front of a massive group of people, 56,000 people. And they were all saying, oh, what does he mean? I don't think I'm going to make it to heaven. I'm doing a great job for a lot of people, but I don't think so. I'm just not worthy of heaven. I'm not going to make it. And I was having a good time going, I was having fun. I hope to make it. But I doubt I will, to be honest with you. A lot of you will. I'm not so sure. But I was having fun. The New York Times has a front page story. Donald Trump is now questioning his mortality. They made it like I was totally. So you can't joke. It doesn't work. Kelly Loeffler here, small business meaning big business.
Chief, like what? You don't think you're gonna make it to heaven? Are you doing? Did you do some bad stuff? Like what? And we're gonna follow this guy into the crusade? Okay. Now, Trump has suggested that the war could be ending soon, but I believe there was the talk of this being a 4-day operation. That was 6 days ago, so I don't know how it's going to go.
You called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
You're talking
but soon.
about days?
I think soon.
Okay, and
Not
with
this week.
respect
Very soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership. In fact, there are 2 levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But 2 levels of leadership are gone.
On Iran.
So he's not making it to heaven. He's going to end it not this week, but soon. He's destroyed all the levels of leadership. 2, 3, 4 levels of leadership have been destroyed. What are we doing here? Okay, I'm really scared. It's giving World War III vibes for sure. I'm just very concerned, to be honest with you. I understand why those strikes were made to begin with, but now it's kind of like, okay, what's the plan, Chief? Like, you're talking about not getting into heaven. Like, I'm not trying to hear that. I'm trying to hear you. You might need to pull out that crusade talk again, because that was quite comforting and convincing, even though it was definitely scary. But yeah, this is definitely a little bit worrying. I do hope that there is a plan. I hope somebody has a plan up there. And if not, we could be hurtling towards World War III without an end game, and America is definitely doing a lot of damage to their reputation worldwide. It is not a great look. I'm definitely on the concern side of things. So look, if you guys have any ideas of how we're going to get through this, if anybody else has a plan, let me know in the comments what the plan is, because I'm a bit scared. All right, but I don't know, just let me know what you thought of this. Okay, got a whole bunch more videos coming for you guys today. Got a couple more Iran updates, Epstein updates, some music updates. Very excited to share those with you. So thank you for watching this one. I'll catch you guys in the next one. For now, I'm out here, guys. Peace.